on mental health this year, and I'm privileged to have one of us doing this. He's going to be talking to us about how the mental health of the father affects the children. And I think that's a very important topic because I realize that men absolutely live in a lot of denial of the male gender. And I'm glad that there are very many men in the house this evening. So welcome with me, Rotarian Hiroko, as the host justice to Akura Kwakwala is a Catholic catalyst for change who has the mandate to increase the quality of parenting and the methodology of nurturing African children, as well as family while maximizing their full potential. He is an accounting graduate from the Federal Polytechnic in Laro, State, Nigeria. He is a member of the Nigerian Institute of Management, Chartered. He is a fellow Institute of Management in Gongotin. He had a short stretch in Mogo Previously Limited, Nigeria from March 1999 to April 2001, and Reliance Bank Limited from August 2001 to April 29, 2005. And later started a private business, major financial brokerage. He had been involved in youth counseling in his local church before he was called fully into the parenting and education ministry in 2011, which he pursued with vigor and passion till date. Akura Kwakwala has practicing certificates in one, public speaking, business consulting, child care, parenting and family advocacy, and education consulting. He's a Generation C facilitator, certified from Growing Leaders, Atlanta University. Social and emotional learning facilitator, certified from Growing Leaders, Atlanta University. Emotional intelligence, certified from the Emotion City, Lagos, Nigeria. He's a certified family life practitioner from the Institute of Family Development, Lagos, Nigeria. His track record on advocacy and parenting can be traced across sectors, following the need to consolidate diverse projects, efforts, and interventions within the parenting space. He's a consultant, speaker, trainer, parent coach, and also an experienced counselor. He's the author of the fast-growing Inspired Walk Tool for fathers to raise real men today's boys. Daddy, where are you? He also has a tool work for mothers, Mommy, No Excuses, a book that focuses on mothers to know how strategies to complement and not competing with their husbands in parenting marriage. He is the founder and lead researcher of Parent Map Consulting. Please welcome with me once again to
Good morning, my home president. I thank you for this opportunity given to me. So, my IG, good morning. AG, PhD in the house, and board members. So my name is Akiroko Akinola. I'm a family life practitioner, major parenting and fatherhood. So please, my president, permit me to introduce one of my colleagues in the house. She's a Rotarian. I didn't invite her, but yesterday she saw a flyer on my Facebook account, and she decided to be here today. So please make me welcome. Appreciate Rotarian Elizabeth. So, when we talk about fatherhood, I pulled this message from our curriculum. It's like about 6 hours curriculum when we're talking about the connection of mental wellness, transferable from what the father has to the children. There is a whole lot to learn here, but because of the time frame, I just pull a few content out that will still be beneficial to us. Please note, what I want to say here today is not something you've not heard before. Every one of us here, we are practicing fathers. And I know this is why I said that. I've been in Rotary here in Omole since November last year. I got inducted. I admitted this year, January. So I have moved with almost every father here, and I know how sincere every one of us has been in the area of family and parenting. So please, to all fathers, give it yourself. And also to our mothers, we appreciate you. So far, you've taught us what it is to complement the efforts of the fathers. So thank you. Please permit me to use PP and Rotarian Elijah Iburoke just to appreciate all the mothers in there. Thank you, man. So when we look at fathers in every area, in all the religion, whether you're a Muslim, Christian, Hindu, even here in our location, I'm talking about in Nigeria here, you will see that God placed so much effort on fathers. So much responsibility, huge responsibility are upon us, fathers. And the reason is simple, because we are the leaders of the whole. It is not about competing with the mothers. It is not about mothers saying that does not mean I don't have any responsibility. And that's why we preach, we teach single mothers that if you have the capacity to play the role of a father in the life of your children, so be it. But if you don't have that capacity, please look out for a father figure that will do that job of fatherhood in the life of the children that God has given unto you. So when we talk about promoting positive parenting and children's mental wellness, involves a combination of strategies that create nurturing and supportive environment for children. We are talking about giving us strategies. What are the strategies? What are the connections? What have we been doing right? What have we been doing wrong? How come we have some children? How come we have some teenagers? Anytime when you do anything to them, now these teenagers, they are so much aware of mental wellness than us parents. We go to schools, we meet students. When anything happens to them, before you know it, they say that I am depressed. I am depressed. Then you begin to wonder, what does these people know? What do they know about depression? What do they know about mental wellness? What do they know about their mental health? And I tell you, they know a lot. They know a lot. A parent came to us that anytime she chastises any of her children, and the next thing one of them will always say, like 1 out of 3 children across the Southwest that we conducted research, 1 out of the 3 children will always say that, please mommy, please daddy, my mental wellness is at stake. Please, my mental wellness is at stake. You begin to wonder, who taught them? How do they know it? They know it because these guys are exposed to stressors. These stressors are around, they are the aiding capacity to mental wellness, to mental challenges. What are they? One of these stressors they have the devices, the phone, they have internet at their back, they are exposed to information that are older than their age. Information that are older than their age. These guys, they find it so easy to network, to navigate technologically than it is easier for them to navigate emotionally. Let me take that again. They find it easier to navigate the world technologically than it is easier for them to navigate the world relationship and the world relationshiply and emotionally. When you see any teenager walks into this hall now, there is likelihood that that teenager will just sit down, unless that teenager is an interactor, a rotaractor. A normal teenager, quote and unquote, will enter this place and just sit down, because he feels that it is none of my business to say good morning or good afternoon, sir, because of what they are exposed to, because of what they've been taught in the world, because of what they think it is. To them, truth is subjective, morality is subjective. We call it elastic morality. So if we tell them this thing is wrong, they are likely going to prove to you that mommy, daddy, during your generation, it was wrong. In my generation now, what is wrong is subjective. And that is why, and one of the characteristics they have, the Generation Z, is the fact that they are more inclusive than us. A Gen Z, a teenager, will likely fight his or her parents if he or she chooses that I don't want to marry, I want to be bisexual, I don't see anything wrong in it, I want to be anything, they don't see anything in it. And when they hear any father or parent complaining about all those things, they are withdrawn. So when you look at those areas, their sanity depends on the sanity of the head of the home, the fathers. They do. Not all the time. We have seen many cases that a father raised the children very well. Talk of spiritual empowerment. When children grow out of their children, they are liberty to choose what they deem it suits them. So in all of this world of challenges, in one of these issues, by November 2nd, women in management and business, English, I'm going to be one of their new speakers around modern parenting. I mean, the topic is modern parenting and the challenges of raising families across board. Many of us parents, many of us fathers are not ready to engage in this discussion. What is that discussion? How do we raise our children in the challenging world that does not even define the culture the way we define it? So when we tell some fathers that raise global children, don't limit the culture you are exposing your children to the culture of Yoruba, the culture of Igbo, the culture of Africa alone. What happens? People are jackpotting now. So what happens if you take your children to Canada today, you take your children to America today, to any part of Europe today? What happens to them? Many things we tell them here. When they get there, those things, 90% of those things we tell them here don't hold water again. So when we tell parents, we tell fathers that embrace educational approach of discipline, they tell us that our mouth is smelling, that we are bringing in foreign culture. We are not bringing in foreign culture. We are not saying we should allow the children to continue brazenly in error. No! We are telling them that you can easily nurture these people without you exerting the power of discipline. how discipline was explained, was defined, how we experience discipline from our children. Let me quickly say this. In my former church, there was a minister then, around 2015, 2016. A 7-year-old boy did something wrong. And this, my minister friend, slapped this boy. He slapped this boy like in this room. We heard the sound, the vibration of that sound, of the slap outside there. Only said they call it reset. And this boy cried because of the bias of being a parenting coach. I ran inside and I grabbed this minister, supposed to be my boss. I reported to him then. I grabbed him from behind. What is the problem? And the man looked at me and he said, if you do it to other parents, when I'm talking to my children, when I'm preaching to them, don't ever put your mouth. Then our head of pastoral now grabbed me and said, Mr. Clotho, please, enough. I just, within me, you know, that thing wouldn't just allow that. A 7-year-old boy, for what? And later, I went to apologize. I'm sorry, sir. Pastor so. I won't do that again. In 2018, this man relocated to the US. Maryland, precisely. 3 children. The same boy. Did something. The boy was like 10 then. Did something, and the man slapped. When he slapped, because when he got there, he told them, he said, see, I will discipline you. If you cry better, I will send you back to where you are suffering from Nigeria. And the children actually complied. But the following day, the mark of the slap was so conspicuously seen, known on the cheek of this boy. Right?
Yes.
They asked what happened. Because of the fear, the boy didn't say, my daddy beat me. But those ones, because they have psychologists. Because they knew that the guy withdrawn. He wasn't really doing anything. So a week later, they studied the guy very well. They invited the father. What happened to your boy? This guy used to be active. What did he say? I don't know. And they brought the guy, the picture, everything. I said, please, let us know. Your boy didn't want to talk. What did you do to this boy? That was when they now showed the guy that you beat this boy. Why? You slapped, he did this, he did that. He said, okay, no problem. What did they do? The lawyer that filed the Japan stuff for this guy was the one who bailed him out. Because when they checked the record, 3 years down the line, this guy, the parent, the father, has never been involved in any violent activity. So on that, they gave him probation, but not without a fine of $500 to go there, to go and enroll into a parenting school. So to go and enroll in a parenting school. It was why this guy was giving assignments on parenting, on fatherhood. That he didn't want to call me before. He was still showing strong head. He now called me sometimes in 2021. Mr. Akiroko, it's me. I'm sorry. What you do? Then we used to host a free parenting class here in Excellence Hotel monthly. Free, something I spend my money just for them to come free. They disparaged me, they did everything that you don't know what you are doing. So the guy now said that please, that curriculum then, and if I still have it in PDF, I should send it to him. That he was sorry that he had to do this. So now that is just one of many examples that we have. Now, when we're talking about mental wellness of a father, we see in research the number one strategy that every father must have is to check out how we were raised. some of us fathers have not really healed of emotional torture that we suffer in the hand of our parents, especially our fathers. Many of us, we are yet to be healed. We transfer the same thing to our children because my daddy beat me and I did not die, and we are here today. To God be the glory. Please, I am not saying we must not discipline our children when they do something wrong, but 80% when they do something wrong, 80% of how we were raised is the same way we transferred to these children. We don't always have patience to want to ask ourselves, why did my boy behave this way? Why did my girl behave this way? So we believe so much in that stereotype. We are likely going to deal with our wives the same way our fathers dealt with their wives. When I'm talking, when my dad was talking, none of the wives had any infantry to challenge. But here we are, your wife wants to ask you questions. Here we are, your children want to ask you questions. When they see that you don't need to shout, we hear many advices that even when you are fighting your wife, don't let it be known to your wife that lie. There is an emotional connection. When we are not happy with our wife, the children will know. You don't need to beat your wife, you don't need to shout at your wife. You don't need to shout. They will know. So those are the things that we must do. Let us first of all check our lifestyle. How were we raised? The pattern we were raised with, is the pattern still relevant with the way we want to raise these children? Many of us, I'm sure, 80% of us in this house will belong to Generation Next. Those people who were born in 1964 to 1980. So we were made for what? We were made for industrial revolution. Maybe A.G. Olabi and Elijah, maybe they belong to baby boomers. Those are from 1940 to 1963. Baby boomers. So the first thing we need to do, let us examine ourselves. This message is for fathers and mothers. How were we raised? How were we raised? Have I been healed of my past childhood trauma? Many of us still carry childhood trauma. It is not late for us to see a therapist. It is not late. Till tomorrow, I still visit my therapist. Even though this is the job I do. I'm a therapist on my own, but I still have a therapist that I subject myself to fellowship because I need to renew my mind daily. That is what the Bible tells us to do. We should renew our minds daily. I have my children are still teenagers. We should renew our minds daily. So the next thing we need to do, let us share the stories of our life with our children. The next 2 minutes I will round the place. Let us share the stories of our life with our children. Fathers, what we did, those escapades. Let us be vulnerable for our children. We can tell them those things we did and we escaped. Anything. Maybe at age 14, we were involved in some stuff. Let us tell them. You know, it is part of their own. We are building emotional resilience in them. Yep. If they know that their dad has shared with them before, when the dad used to steal some pieces of meat in the pot. When at 15, daddy tasted cigarettes. Even when at 14, daddy was part of some guys. in their secondary school who sneaked out into a party and they were caught in some unholy activities. Share with them. You know why? Because many of our children, they do this thing. The first time my son masturbated at age 15, he just came to me that that is something happened. And I don't know how it happened. This is what I did. And I just told the guy to myself, how did? And I made him understand why he's doing that. And one of the reasons he's doing that, he did that for the fact that he didn't have the luxury of time to have a girlfriend. Because I've shared with him before. The first time I was deflowered by an elderly cousin, I was 13. This elderly cousin was 18. So I shared it with him when he was 10. So he didn't feel any shame for him to come to me that daddy, I masturbated. And I told him, at your age, I didn't masturbate, but I had a girlfriend.
15.
At 15. No, 13. The thing started at 13. But by 15. So there was nothing for me to masturbate. I had a girlfriend that I would sneak into because then I would always make sure that they send me on errand by 88 p.m. So those are the things we need to do to tell our sons and daughters so that when they face any challenge, they will be free to come and meet us. Daddy, mommy, somebody deflowered me yesterday. I'm sorry I did it. Some of our daughters will not come and meet us because we have projected ourselves as holier than thou. Saints. Your daddy married me 30 years. Nobody touched me except your daddy. Alive. I didn't touch anybody except your. In fact, I married your mom virgin. We never touched ourselves. So please, I want to beg us. I'm sure this is just an introduction of this message. Mental wellness. Connection of mental wellness between fathers and children. If fathers are not mentally sound, it's going to be difficult for children to connect. Being mentally sound, we are not talking about madness. We can be even whole like this, physically okay, but many things happen to our brain. Lastly, let us have an accountability partner. Who is that person in our life as fathers that has the effort to call us in the night? Anytime that I heard you did this, why did you do that? Any father who doesn't have a coach, an accountability person, an accountability partner to lead is not ready to lead today's children into the future. Thank you.
If you need accountability partner, please contact So please, if you have a question, let's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's do that quickly. Let's start with
Thank you so very much. But I want to pose a challenge. When you talk about father, well, by destiny, God has created men to be fathers. I want to tell you, there are some mothers that are real fathers.
Yes, so loud it, ma.
Say that loud.
Yes, so Bolu.
Say that again.
Bolu, ìyá mi.
And the position bed is just the basic truth that we need to talk to ourselves. And it's not going to scatter any good hope. But from day one, some hope are managed by mothers
Yes.
that are the fathers.
Yes.
You understand? I know, I'm sure you know. Yes. So please, when next you go and talk, make that father, as you are saying father, let there be responsible not because they are not responsible. Because you see, in all these days, except you want to listen yourself, it is the mother that is the father. 80%, I'm going to say that. You can do your research.
Yes.
So mother, that's our father here. I want to congratulate you for doing it well. By the time it is not done well, it is then they will remember that, oh yeah. But when it is done properly, they will remember it is the father. Suppose the father will be so weak that you will just manage that well. Father, but the mother is the father. So please, when you are celebrating Father's Day, I used to, people send messages to me and tell me, happy Father's Day to me. They will tell me, and I say, hey, so now we are home. Thank you very much.
President, great facilitation, and thank you. The truth about this message, I think we are deviating from the real topic, which is the mental health of the father. We are not distracting from mothers the very huge role that they play in homes. You only be foolish to think that mother can be pushed aside. No. I just feel that if they are stronger, it's more or less like a parable saying they are weaker sex. I think what they do, a good number of us men cannot. Now, the question I have is, this generation, I don't know, most of the things you share can actually relate with me. My father and I were very close, and he was sharing some good things. In actual fact, 85% of life lessons, I got it from my father. And my father was late when I was 25. So that will tell you the period, the impact. If he died at 49, I was 25. So that means he had me at about 24. Okay? Now, but the message he was able to pass, 85% of them, actually I got from him. Now, ordinarily, you want to transfer that kind of teaching because of the impact to children. And you come up with all sorts of strategy. Now you say we have family retreat, you go on international trips, you have morning devotionals, and yet, in spite of all of this, some of them can still just be wayward. And you are asking yourself, what have I done? So, it's issues like that that affect the mental health of the father, because he has set out deliberately to have an impact on those children. So, how do you reconcile that? Thank you.
So let me take it right. So, okay, so with what AG Ibiroke said. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so now, it's because how everything is concluded here. You see, I'm sorry, let me use Bible as a reference of it now. It's something like general. Bible says that husband, I'm talking about husband and wife. There's a part that said wife submit to your husband, and there's a part where Bible says that they submit to one another. So now, what we tell, couples, intending couples who come for counseling, we do like 4 months program for them. So we tell them that submit to one another. Where there is an assessment we give them, we always know that the wife is stronger in a particular area. So if the wife is stronger, if the wife is a better manager of money, allow the wife to manage. And where you are lacking, let your wife mentor you. So from here, there can be unified activities in the home. There's nothing like I'm the head. You are the head, but you are just like what she said. You are the head, but your impact is not felt. Like what we tell fathers, that if I were you, of any father, yes, and you know that your wife is smarter than you in some areas, don't fight. Hide under her. You will still do it. Who takes the glory? It is still you. It's you that they will see. Yes, I'm the father. But when you see a smart father, you will do that. And when he goes out, you say that everything that you see me do now is with the support of my wife. So please, let me appreciate my wife. The wife will be happy. So please, a smart father should learn to appreciate a smart wife. Learn under her and move on. There won't be any fight. So the next question, thank you, sir. We've seen it happen. There are some things we can't really determine the outcome. These children, they have power of choices. They can be easily influenced. And this woman says something. Hillary Clinton, in his book, It Takes a Village to Raise a Child. Now, she actually borrowed that the title here in Africa. She said, it is not how best or how good or best my children are raised, but how good or best the other children are raised. Because no society, no man, no woman, no child is insusceptible, is immune from the larger influence of the larger society. So it's possible I will raise my children very well, they will do everything, they will money devotion, everything they do. But immediately they step out. Wow. Somebody will just wink at them. What is it now? Omo daddy, omo mommy, waiting day. Come on. Jare. So it happens. But the only thing that will always work, sir, I believe God. Mommy's boy. Honestly. Mommy's boy. Honestly speaking. I trust God and will see it happen also. If parents, fathers, do what they are supposed to do right, they did everything right. See, let that child go. Before any havoc rests on him or her, they will come back and will say that, Daddy, I'm sorry. Mommy, I'm sorry. I know you did, but something happened. So, regardless of what they're going to meet outside, I want us not to get discouraged. Let us still do what we are supposed to do as sent by God, because we are just caregivers. Yes, sir. Okay. They don't let them realize that come back to
Thank you very much. I know you and I, our hood are very close by. So, Oba is the bush side of the river. So you said something. You talk about that we should talk to our children on our life experiences, especially those negative ones that gives you some kind of goosebumps. We're Africans. I just want to relate things. There are some things that we have to manage the information we pass across to at a particular age. As an African, if I tell my children what an uncle or someone who is still alive within the family had done to me in the past, that I can't still forget and it's negative, you know the consequences. If you are very close to the children, as I am, the negative effect is that that person will never be a good person in life because they won't relate to that person. But because we live in a society where we want love to go around, we want to forget the past. So at what age and at what time do you distinguish between exposing all these questions?
Thank you, sir. The only time we can expose our children to it is when, as fathers, we are already healed of those hurts, past hurts. If we are not yet healed, we don't need to take them. And the reason is this. Once we are not yet healed, the way we are going to project it to the children from the standpoint of us, that man, so let me cite my personal example. My dad was so rude to me, so wicked, but I've been healed. So by the time I related everything to my children, I related it to them from the standpoint of wisdom, knowledge, that my dad didn't know better. If you had known better, he would do better. So now today, me and my children, we go to our wife. My dad is late, but we still relate with anybody around us. So the point is, if we are not yet healed of those people who hurt us, don't let us say them to our children. And that is why we must submit ourselves to therapies. Some hurt must not go down with us into the grave.
Thank you so much for this. It's something like you said something about 15 legal enters here now, that there's more tendency that person will just sit down. And if I put it to you, that's okay. No, I'm just saying, that's how it portrayed to me. And again, you say we should raise global children so that when we get to the global world, are you saying in context that we should forget our culture? Because I know that even abroad, I've seen kids who they want to leave the other party. I mean, they're so afraid, but they'll still kneel down or prostrate. You understand? Because that's their culture. Are you saying they should lose their identity? No, that's number one. That's the first one. The second one, I think I did therapy also. In July, I was in the US with my son and my wife. And so we went to our local church. And as we were playing in the courtyard, my son jumped and was jumping everywhere and I thought I was part of the disturbance. Then my wife now, just in front of me that I should remind me that there are other people around. I mean, my ego was weak, and I felt that when you correct the boy, do I always get involved? I mean, I was very interested. And so later, she got my container. And later she went to do the great TMO software. You know, but I got that from other people also. So I see that my temperament also are. And so that's why I said I don't need that.
Okay,
so let me start that from every day, we get to fight. Then the first one, if I'm just painting a scenario, the reality, that is the reality. It is not right. We can't forget our culture. I tell, okay, now let me start one example. My children, they don't see anything wrong in giving me, in handing something to me with their left hand. because of my exposure also, I don't see anything wrong. It's like if somebody handed a $50,000 to me now with the left hand, and I say the person is wrong or what, I won't say that. But I make my children to understand. This is the belief. People believe, some people believe that when you do that, you are disrespecting them, especially elder. So when you are outside, you want to give something to somebody, make sure you do that with your right hand. So they are both socially intelligent here in Nigeria and when they go out. So if you go out that where they don't think it's a problem, it's okay. But here, people believe that it's a problem, so don't do that. So I tell my children also that when you see people, you must prostrate. When you get to a place whereby you only greet by chest, it's okay. So we just need to balance it. We can't forget our culture.
Mine is actually an add-on and a question that might take seriously or two aspects. Now in Nigeria, basically, what we have is largely judgmental parenting rather than non-judgmental parenting that we have abroad. And that was why you saw a child whose parents wanted the child to be like him by force. They were forcing the child to play some type and probably the child had lots of mental health issues. If you remember that the child stabbed his father and his dad died. He came alive. Why? The dad was forcing this child to pray around 5:30 a.m. The child said, I don't want to pray. And then it was actually a very big issue. Now that child probably must have felt that emotional trauma over time. People want their children to be like them. Second, we men, it's our problem. A lot of men tell you that do as I say. My dad told me not to say. They forget that it's easier to do what you say than you are saying and what you say now. It means they are creating your person. Rather than you are telling what they will not do. It's very possible. Then now, the controversial thing, some men do not believe that the behavior of their children is a reflection of them. So now, it comes to the fact that we need to establish one identity, DNA. Yes, DNA. It is only when men are sure that this child is my own, really, that we handle this child with some level of love. So men don't know whether the child is their own or not. So this is say that this child is not my child. This behavior is not in our family. Child is his child. He forgets that they are not the same generational view. Like you said, they have been exposed to different sorts of information, whatever. The child is his own person, rather than being exposed to another person. So if you don't encourage DNA in what you are doing, sir, do the research. I'm a pharmacy by training, I can be part of it. The research where we will do a correlation or association between what people think and what it is.
So in that sense, our response to this, so no, it is not our responsibility to advocate DNA. Even in the court of law does not approve it. Law says that in so much that that person was given birth during the formation of the marriage, court will not order DNA. I don't think DNA will work it. Regardless of, we have some children who are raised by somebody who is not their biological father, and they still follow that area. So DNA is not really part of it. But as of
Okay, can we go to this question? Thank you.
I distinguished President, Rotarian friends and friends. It's not a question, I just want to appreciate you because so much has been said and you have actually touched so many areas. Your lecture or presentation has been very insightful, to say the least. So I felt it struck to say thank you. And I want to use this medium to appeal to my president to oblige me that we all should stand and appreciate it. Yes. Let's not disregard that.
Yes. Thank you for
that.
Yes.
Take your flowers, honey.
Thank you very much.
Canadian dollars. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Mr. Akere, for your words this morning. So, my question to you talked about having a father figure in the lives of children. As a single parent, what if you have someone that you will see to be a fatherly figure and the children are not being receptive? And you have someone... So what are the things to look out for, especially when children have been so close to their fathers, they've bonded so well, and there is still that space, that vacuum, that, you know, how do you help those children to see who you think should be a father?
Thank you. Thank you, sir, my PP. So, concerning that, we have some children also of single mothers who have told their mom that they don't want any father figure. Madam, we cannot in any way force father figure on the children. If they say they don't, they don't. And that is when the mother now has to equip herself to fill that gap. Because there are some children, they don't want anybody else to take the place of their father. They don't want it. So, what the mother will not do is to assume that both roles and responsibility with better equipment and let the children know that I'm ready to do that.
Thank you, Kiroko. And that's the last question. We say thank you to you for taking on this morning.